welcome everybody this week to The Good, the Bad and the Mad. We're here with Ella Greenwood, who is a filmmaker based in London, who has recently had her short Faulty Roots show in festivals and has managed to get it commissioned into a feature film during lockdown, which is very impressive, and we are going to be delving into that over the course of things. So how have you been? You survived lockdown.
Yeah, been busy, which is great. I feel like I'm someone that needs to be doing something, needs to keep my mind occupied. So yeah, I've sort of been working more than I was before lockdown.
That's the best thing.
Yeah.
If you're stuck in a room, you might as well just go on all your projects, right?
Yeah.
So I know you've been working on the feature and the pre-production for that, but what else kind of things have you been working on?
So I've been doing some voiceover projects. I narrated a documentary in French, which was quite time consuming, but yeah, I really enjoyed that, making the most of my French. I was finishing my animation Dreary Days, getting that sent off to all the festivals. I was starting writing a play before, and that I've sort of put that on hold for now while I'm focusing on the feature. Oh, and I also shot a documentary short, and that is in post now as well.
Amazing. What was that on?
So that is, I was just sort of seeing like, what can I do? It was when lockdown started to ease, and it's about my friend who currently has 16 different pets, and in her lifetime she's had probably about 40. So it's just a 10-minute sort of documentary short, and yeah.
I love that. Why not?
Yeah, using my friend, making the most of what's nearby.
Well, exactly. So we know where you're at the moment, but when did you start thinking about a career in film?
So because I always wanted to be an actor and I always preferred film TV over theatre, I knew that I always wanted to work in film, and I loved the idea of sort of all different roles. I thought about being like an art director at one point, that sort of thing. And then when I finished my A-levels, which was, I guess, last summer, I suddenly had so much more free time, because before I was getting auditions, doing that, but I had all of sort of psychology and biology to think about, and I suddenly had a lot of just time, and I do like to be occupied. So I thought, what can I do? How can I be sort of more proactive? And that's when I started filmmaking and looking at that side of things.
Amazing. So you started in acting. You're wearing a National Youth Theatre.
Yeah, this isn't promo. It's perfectly positioned.
Why not? Did they do good for you? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I absolutely loved it. It was just one of my favourite things ever.
What course did you do with them?
Senior course, and I did that last summer too. I would highly recommend it to any young actor in Britain. We had international, we had people from all over, from Paris, that sort of thing. It is just an amazing network.
Is it very much like an intensive course?
Yes, so you do an intake course, which was 3 weeks for us, and we stayed in accommodation, and it was sort of like a mini uni experience for me, because I'm not really gonna get that. You do that, and then you become a member, and then after that you audition for their shows. They do workshops, all of that sort of thing, and that's really great, and they're getting the top auditions. And I think that's amazing, because there's a lot of people who wouldn't even sort of know how to get an agent, wouldn't know what an agent is as such, like people that hadn't heard of Spotlight, but extremely talented, so for them to be able to have access to those sort of roles is amazing.
As you just mentioned, you're not going to go down the university route.
No.
What made that decision for you? Was it the feature, or?
It was, the thing is, I absolutely loved that experience of staying in halls, and I know that I would really enjoy university, but I've been homeschooled from about the age of 13.
Really?
And I considered going to a college for sixth form.
Yeah.
And I tried.
Not an institution person.
No, because from going to teaching myself and having that control and being able to go a faster pace and being able to travel and work and do all this at the same time, like, I've just been so used to that, and I don't think sort of almost having someone else teach me would work in that way. I don't know. And because I've already had experience in film and I've already done that sort of thing and I have sort of connections and people who I'd love to just work with, it didn't seem like it would really be beneficial to me.
I feel like that's a lot of reason why people do go, is to learn the basics, but also primarily for the network. So if you've kind of already got that through National Youth Theatre, through other projects that you've been doing, I do see where you're coming from, and just kind of, why not just do it, you know?
Yeah.
100%. So that's essentially what you did with the short, right?
Yeah.
You raised the money through crowdfunding, right?
Yeah, crowdfunding and then individual investors.
Mm-hmm. So can you talk me through a little bit on that process? So what was your target?
Our
goal?
target was 6,000, I think, and we reached that, and then we also had more interest, so we were able to get more as well. And for me, like, I had to crowdfund because I don't have money like that, but that was something that I absolutely hated. I hated it so much. I didn't want to ask people for money, like, and just even, I wouldn't want to send it to my friends, or if, for example, my aunt purchased a signed script, but that is so nice, but also I would just give her a signed script, like, I didn't feel comfortable, like,
it's almost easier just asking strangers.
Yeah. And so that was, and then it's making sure that I did well with these people who, obviously it's such an amazing feeling, like when someone came on board quite early on as an associate producer, just this wonderful lady from America, because she said, I just have a lot of faith in you, I think everything you've shown so far is great. That was a really nice feeling. Yeah,
I mean, so about that lady, how did you reach out to her, connect with her? Was it just random messages on Instagram going, hi?
No, that lady in particular was someone who had done a lot of other short films, and sort of on Twitter she was saying like she wants more projects, that sort of thing. So I went on IMDb Pro, got her email, just sent a bit of information, because again I hate getting people's contact details and sending an email. I didn't want to be a bother thing. But she just said, it sounds like a really great project and I would love to be involved.
Amazing. So was that your first directing experience?
Yeah.
What was that like? Because you were acting in it as well.
Yeah. Luckily, my best friend, we always get confused for each other. People think we're sisters, that sort of thing. So she was my stand-in, and that really helped. It's sort of like two different experiences at the same time. I just view them as two separate things when I acted in it and when I directed. And I was finding that I just wanted to stay behind the camera. Like, I love acting, but I just, I want to stay behind the camera almost.
And that element a bit more.
And just to sort of have that control and to be able to have your opinion change so much in that situation. Like, just the lighting, people were asking me, and it was like, well, I really like that, because it's sort of your overall vision rather than.
So did it come to life as you had kind of seen it, or did it change quite a lot during the process?
I don't think it really changed at all. I think, like, I was talking about this the other day, about the script, and I wrote the script sort of in one go, and that was it. I didn't look at it for like 2 months, because I just sort of like, I can't do it, like, what am I even doing? I went back to it, got my sister to look at it, which I was so nervous about. She suggested different things. I think I changed it twice. Then in the end I went back and just used the original script with like a few spelling changes and a few just sort of conversational changes between the characters. You found it quite
a daunting, almost imposter syndrome element. You're like, oh, can I do this, can I not?
Yeah, because I just got sort of overwhelmed when trying to hire crew. I was like, I don't know how to hire crew. I don't know what, there were these amazing DOPs and they all looked incredible. But I didn't know what, and people were sending me CVs, and it's just sort of like, that, just viewing a CV, that didn't really mean much to me. It's
how did you choose in the end? Did you go on a gut instinct, or?
I think that's what I've learned even with the feature. I just have strong gut feelings about things, and that's it. I'll just go for that, because otherwise there are so many amazing people for each role, and it is, how do you pick? You've just got to go with your gut, I think. So
the story is really centered around the subject of teenage depression, which is a tricky one to kind of put on camera and also just externalize. So what inspired that? How did you go about?
So I thought I may do the short and that would be it. I wouldn't really do filmmaking again. I sort of almost thought of it as a way to showcase my acting skills rather than as a filmmaker. Use it as a show reel. Yeah, so I didn't think I'd be doing it again. So because I thought I'm just going to do this one short film, I wanted to do it about something that I'm passionate about. If I'm going to put all this time and effort into it, I want it to be something that I want to promote and support and that I'm passionate about writing about, and that was definitely mental health for me. So I knew that I wanted to do it about that, and then it was sort of trying to figure out how to do a story in relation to that, really.
So you focus quite heavily on the relationship between the parent and the child, and the difficulties in communication on that front. That's a very poignant element to kind of capture, because communication and knowledge of depression in teenagers or adults, so it's a tricky one to just express, I think you captured that really well.
Thank you. That's definitely, like, in the feature version, that's something that's focused on even more.
The parent-child relationship. Amazing. What else are we going to see in the feature?
So definitely an expansion on that, and we've got the amazing actors Melanie Waters and Katie Page-Reese who are playing the mother and daughter, and I'm really excited about that. That's something that's even more. And in the feature, Lola, which is the main character, she has a sister which she doesn't have in the short, and it's that relationship as well, because one of the things that I found so hard, like when I was struggling with mental health and that sort of thing, is almost comparing the me now to the me before, and how your relationships sort of change, because I was constantly thinking that this person, sort of like, I have a sister, she must be disappointed in who I am now and who I am in this current moment. So it's about exploring that relationship too, which I'm really excited to be able to focus on and expand.
Amazing.
And just the friendship between the two main characters, Lola and Zach, that's going to be expanded on a lot as well, and hopefully there's a good humour between them. I don't want it to all be sort of...
I think you get that quite well, the kind of awkward, quirky moments that kind of come along with it.
Yeah. My favourite thing to write is just conversation, just between people. When it comes to sort of structuring it and descriptions and thinking, like, where am I going to put the characters, what is the actual story, I just love writing conversations. So
was it in your mind to turn it into a feature, or even when you were writing the short? I know you say you weren't going to go beyond it, but did you kind of flesh out this story at that time, or was this a last kind of couple of months?
No, I think I did always have that in mind. I think the short, it's trying to fit so much into these like 10 minutes that even I cut so much out, like just little things like her being dropped at his house and there was a conversation between them again, just cutting all stuff like that out for the short, that just made me think, well, if I could do it in a feature, there's so much that I'd want to include. So I did always have that in mind, but I never thought
Well, so did you go into the short film festivals with that mindset of looking for producers and production companies to turn it into a feature, or was it just celebrate the success of it?
It was more like, my goal was always to get it into sort of younger film festivals. So it premiered at Busan International Kids and Youth Film Festival, to be able to share it with young people. Because even if there's one person in the audience who it sort of brings a bit of comfort to, or that sort of thing, then that is what it means a lot to me.
You were going to take it down the educational route as well, weren't you?
Yes, so actually one of the directors of a festival I've just been talking to recently, and he works in mental health. I think he's a mental health advisor, I can't remember exactly, but we're now looking at, they work in schools and they do schools tours, so I'm probably going to work with him and help get it to, they said they'd love to get it to primary schools, that sort of thing.
That's brilliant. So what were the immediate lessons that you learned from your short in festivals? Like, which festivals were the most beneficial to you?
I think Definitely just audiences like in Busan. I didn't know if it would connect with audiences here in terms of sort of understanding the mental health point, but I don't know what people experience in places like Asia. I think it's going to Lahore next month, and I don't know how they experience mental. I would have absolutely no clue on how they experience what the sort of the situation is there with teens' mental health. So for it to be able to be played there and for people there to have liked it and sort of liked the message, that has been really beneficial to me to know that, and to know that
it's a universal.
Yeah, there's sort of a universal standpoint for mental health and how it can be helped in all of these different places.
No, amazing. So just from knowing you personally, you are an absolute savant when it comes to social media. Did that play a big role in the kind of success of your short film, do you think?
Yeah, definitely. I think if social media didn't exist, you would just have a short film and it would just be a file on your computer. Whereas if you've got social media, and something that's been so beneficial was the reviews that we were getting, and being able to post those on social media, because then it's for you as well. You've got this almost thing that you can look at and it's got your reviews. Otherwise they would just be website. There should be a page on a website and it would just be a file on a computer. So it's one place where people can view everything to do with your film, and it really helped because even before that I was getting emails from festivals saying, we'd love for you to submit it.
Amazing.
And they would not have, they saw it through social media. So yeah, it's been so beneficial.
So a tick on any social media campaign for
definitely.
Short films.
And even like through crowdfunding, that is probably how I got most crowdfunders, was through Twitter. So it would not be where it is without social media.
Amazing. So you did the festival circuit with the short, and then somehow you have astonishingly managed to get it commissioned to a feature film. Can you kind of talk us through that process and how that came about?
We did a press release when we shared the news that it was going to be a feature, and before when that was happening I hadn't even wrote the feature script. I hadn't.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Before you wrote the script? Oh my goodness.
So I think because there's such a need for mental health to be talked about, and that is why people have been contacting me sort of in the industry saying I'm really interested. Like even people are saying, I'm really busy at the moment, but because I support mental health and I really want to promote that, I want to see what I can do, that sort of thing. So I think because the mental health, the way I sort of talked about it, was received quite well, that has really helped it become sort of a feature. But yeah, I hadn't even wrote the script.
Oh my goodness. So just this topic that was so meaningful to people just drew attention to it, and a producer reached out to you? Yeah.
So Raspberry Films reached out saying we're looking for a project like that. They'd done a short about eating disorders, so they already had experience doing sort of on the topic of mental health, and they wanted to reach out and see if there was any way that they could help if we wanted to do it as a feature, that sort of thing.
And you just jumped on board going, yes,
then
I will write the script overnight.
It did sort of happen like that. I wrote the script not in a rushed pace, but I didn't really struggle to get it written.
And so, as you mentioned earlier, you've cast the mother and daughter in the roles. So because you were acting in the short, was that a very deliberate decision to step away from the role?
At the start, I was just thinking, 100% I want to acting it, and I would hire a different director because I knew I could not do both.
Yeah.
At all. I don't know how people do it with feature films. And I wouldn't want to. I would want to put my focus completely onto what I'm doing, not have these sort of two roles on set. And I knew that I did want to direct, but to me, because my whole life has sort of been acting, it took a while for me to say, you know what, it's okay. It's okay if you're not acting. You're not sort of, I don't know, past you wouldn't hate you for making this decision. But because because I've wrote it and I have in mind what I want to do, it would be a lot harder for me to see another director direct rather than an amazing actress act.
I see that. I mean, it's once you've got that image in your head, so visualized, it's difficult to adapt and just see your baby go into someone else's hands. So I get that, and Raspberry Films are very encouraging of you in the directing role. How are you going about preparing for it?
So we are just sort of focusing on pre-production, getting everything lined up. We have attached Studio P, which we can hopefully announce soon, and then I'm gonna sort of focus more once we get just a bit more lined up first, and then I'll sort of focus on everything I want as a director rather than sort of with producing.
So you're a producer mindset. I get that, and then you can have fun and be all creative slightly further down the line. Do you know if you're going to be shooting here or?
We're shooting in the southwest of England, so based Bristol, around Bristol, Gloucestershire, and Somerset.
So it is staying very much an English story, English characters.
Yeah.
Okay. How do you feel going into it? Like, are you quite confident? Are you quite nervous?
I think, I'm confident. I think what I get most nervous about is that other people aren't going to have sort of confidence in me.
Yeah.
But I know that I'm completely confident. I know what I want from the film. I know how I want to direct it, how I want it to be made. But it's just, that is what I'd get most nervous about, that other people wouldn't have that confidence in me.
Well, I think the very fact that you've got a commission at this age just shows all the confidence in the world. Do you think you'll take any lessons from directing the short into the feature? Or is it clean slate?
I definitely will, even if I don't think I'm going to. I for sure will. But I do want to sort of view it as a bit different. I think because in the short we were there's so much to get into that 10 minutes, that with the feature we can focus on the main character's emotions a bit more and how each character is feeling, and that's a lot more that I have to think about how I want to get that across. So I would say I'll just sort of expand on what I've done with the short.
Amazing. What was the casting process like? Because that was going on during lockdown. Were you doing it all via Zoom or video link?
Zoom has been so helpful, and I don't know, there is something. Before, I absolutely loved emails. I would send an email first. Now it's sort of like, I don't want to just type. Do you want to just go on a Zoom? Like, it's so much easier to just talk to people, really. And I think before, when life was sort of more normal, if you said to someone, do you want to just go on a Zoom? Like, I can't get everything across that I want to by email. They literally... Whereas now it's sort of like, okay.
Were you in charge of the casting process along with the casting director?
Yeah, so I sort of I just like these, again, it was the gut feeling, like with the short, I always had the actor, his name's Sunny Tarbo, in mind, and of course I auditioned a few other people, but it didn't, it was hard because I wanted him, and I had a gut feeling like, no, that's him. That was the same with the two actors for the feature that we've announced. I just knew
it was a very easy decision for you.
Yeah, it was. So, and that part of me was like, oh, maybe it shouldn't be, but no, I know that they're going to do an amazing job, and I want them to take on the characters. Yeah.
Do you have any advice for first-time producers, first-time directors?
I mean, it's hard now. Before, my advice would be just to, if you can go to film festivals, go. If you can go to these sort of events, go. Like, for me, sort of two things that have been so beneficial at the BFI, the work they do are incredible, and they do so many amazing things for young people, and just the people you meet, the ways you can get inspired by seeing other people's work, and so many events for free. Like, if you're able to go to that, and now it's quite beneficial because they're by Zoom, so people all over, whereas before it was lucky I was based in London that I could go to them. And again, women in film and TV have I just think everything they do is incredible, and
like courses or events?
No, just they do a lot of Q&As. Again, something I did really close to everything going crazy was go and see a special screening of, I can't remember what it's called. It's a documentary about women in film, made by Gina Davis. And that was incredible. And they just do special events like that. They always had events on and networking. And I remember I went to the Christmas party. It was just an incredible thing, really, because it's this room full of people. It was agents, it was composers, it was directors, it was just all these different people that you would never sort of meet, even if you're working on a project, because you're not going to meet all these different people in one room, and everyone was so lovely.
Did you feel that there could have been any big obstacles at any point that would have prevented you from moving forward with?
Because I wanted to write about mental health, and the relationships that I've shown aren't what I've experienced. Like, my mum has been so amazing. I always had that thought of maybe it would seem too personal. I didn't want my mum to watch it and think, oh, is that how I've been, that sort of thing. And it was, or for other people to watch it, it's scary showing it to other people. And even sort of friends that I've never really shared anything about my mental illness with, that almost stopped me. I didn't want to. I didn't know, it was just too personal for me for my first thing to be something that has really affected me.
I think though, from the success of it and the future success that will come with it, it just shows people are so ready to have these conversations. And if anything, it helps encourage people to keep talking about it. So I think we all kind of need that little bit of bravery when it comes to putting ourselves into our work and our art.
I think it's made me feel a hell of a lot more comfortable talking about, and that's been so beneficial to me just sort of in everyday life, not just my career. I remember a critic saying, you know what, I didn't know that this sort of thing affected, just some of the things that you say, I had no clue that could affect someone, and it's really opened my eyes to that. So for me, even if it just changes that one person's perspective,
that's a win.
Yeah, it is.
100%.
With the short, that was something that I wanted to do. I wanted to hire an all-female crew because as an actor, like, I remember I did this commercial once and there must have been about 50 people, and the only females were hair and makeup. And that was it, and you're talking about 4 people out of 50. So that is definitely something that I wanted to promote. And I'm a female filmmaker. Like, I think that's something to be really not proud of, because it should just become the norm.
Did you succeed in having an all-female crew in the short?
Yeah, so I hired an all-female crew, and then the second AC, Joel, he was incredible. He wanted to just, he asked if he could be involved with the project, and then I'm not going to say no. No, so yeah, I hired all-female, and Joel was lovely and amazing. Is
that something you're going to try and take into the future as well? Maybe not 100%.
No, not 100%, but a female team for sure. At least a majority.
And do you find that women in the industry, like say the women in film and TV, everyone's super encouraging with each other and just trying to lift each other up and work more together? Yeah,
like when I've been at events like that, everyone has been so lovely that I've only ever experienced sort of encouragement rather than anything else.
So as a budding female filmmaker, what legacy do you think you want to build? What stories do you want to tell?
I've almost worked at quite a fast pace, and there are times when I thought maybe I should take my time, but I want to make the most of having this young viewpoint, because I think me and my sister have been having these movie marathons, and we're watching sort of loads of teen movies, and it's kind of insane what they're trying to get across, what teenagers are like, and
it's so adult most of the time.
And it's like they don't really have any real concerns or issues as such, and I think,
except boys, of course.
Yeah, I think there's still definitely a need for better representation especially of teens as well, of female teens. I personally really want to continue working with mental health like in the future. Teens can have real concerns, and in films they're never sort of portrayed as having real concerns, like with all the sort of the racial movements at the minute, and with climate change, like that is something that affects all of us. I have a friend who wanted to go to drama school and do all this, but instead she declined a place and she's working for a climate change movement because she sort of sees it as why would I go into acting when sort of there's this major issue that I feel like that we need to focus on. So we have major concerns. Like, I just hope that we can continue talking about those and almost representing younger people, and that their stresses are valid.
Yeah, they're much more complex than just history lessons or math lessons.
Or just sort of teenage movies where it is just about getting the guy or getting the girl. Like, I don't think any teen, that's their only concern or their main concern.
No, I think that's a brilliant way to kind of use this time and 100% use the momentum that you've managed to build so amazingly moving forward. So many people out there fancy themselves writing a short film or a short script. They have bits and bobs written all down, but how do you go mentally from, oh, I scribbled that down, that could be something, to actually making it, to actually crowdfunding £6,000?
Again, something that really helped me was with the short film, it's about my experiences with mental health. And so once I'd got that down on paper, I had a finished script. I just sort of thought, I've experienced this. Like, at the end of the day, no one can tell me that it's wrong or that, oh no, that's not, you didn't write about it correctly, that's not how it goes, because it's not. Like, I've experienced it, and these are my experiences, so I just had to keep that in mind. And I tend to, even with the feature, I read it once, I got it to be proofread, but other than that, I haven't really gone over it as much. That's it, it's done, I'm just sending it out now. Because if you think about it, if you sort of go through it each time before you send it to someone, you will just think, oh no, maybe they're not going to get it, and you just have to trust that that's what you want to say, so just send it out there and say it.
So was there this point for you, because you've been acting for a number of years, you've written this script, so was there that point where you went, I need to make this? Like, acting's going to be maybe a tricky journey, I need some other options, I want other options, I don't just want to be an actress. What was that point where you were like, I need to make this, direct this?
I mean, I had some awful scripts through, and because I'm not an A-list actor at all, nothing like that, and so of course I'm going to audition for them. I'm not going to turn a role down, but they were just awful, and I didn't want to audition for them. And all these other people who were reading it and taking the time to audition for them, it's sort of insane. And I just thought, well, why don't I try and
just make something better?
Make something better, because I was just confident in myself that I could do something better than that. At least maybe it wouldn't be brilliant, but it would be better than that. So
no, good for you. You're certainly not alone in that.
So on that note, that is it for this episode of The Good, the Bad and the Mad. Thank you to the lovely Ella Greenwood.
Thank you.
And subscribe, and we will be sure to follow Ella's journey moving forward and keep you all updated. So thank you.